Buongiorno everyone, welcome back to Lineup Predictions here at the Magpie Channel TV, where we're already into week 2 of the Premier League season after Newcastle's fantastic opening day game at home, St James's Park, 2-0 win over newly promoted Nottingham Forest. But we weren't the only team that had a brilliant opening weekend, because as did Brighton and Hove Albion away, Manchester United, Old Trafford, 2-1 win for the Seagulls. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one, as is that little record that keeps going around saying that Newcastle's never actually won a game at the Amex in the, 5 years now we came up together? Newcastle champions, of course. 5 games, 3 draws, 2 wins for Brighton at the Amex in the last 5 years. I don't even know how many games we've won at St James's. Like this game over the last few years literally has been absolutely horrendous. We won last year. I remember that. Yeah, we won 2-1. Ryan Fraser and Fabian Schär's goals. Consolation by Lewis Dunk in the second half. But yeah, every other game has been a win for Brighton or a draw, home and away. Obviously, only that one win for Newcastle at St James's last year. So we need to turn things around. We need to get our first win at the Amex in the Premier League. But yeah, it's not going to be easy after a brilliant opening weekend for both teams. But yeah, that Brighton win at Old Trafford maybe looks a little bit prettier than our win over a newly promoted Nottingham Forest. Going to go into each of the teams there then after a little plug to our sponsor, BetMate. Got a couple of lovely little things coming up this weekend to look out for. First things first is the Saturday 3 o'clock fixture, which is there. It is there, if you can see it. £3 entry, potential payout of up to £600. You're playing 5 games. You can pick 2 players from each team, which would be between Wolves and Fulham, Southampton Leeds, Man City Bournemouth, Arsenal Leicester, and Brighton Newcastle. So some lovely teams there you can pick out of: Man City, Arsenal, Leicester, and of course Newcastle. So get yourselves involved. £600 payout of a £3 entry. And they've just put live today at noon each week to do a free game. So obviously it's worth signing up because you don't have to pay anything and you can get something out. So it's absolutely fantastic. And that game today was announced to be the Newcastle Brighton game. There it is there. There's my team. Don't know if you can see it, but yeah, free entry. You can pick up to, I think it's 5 or 6 players. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of each team in there. So mine's dripped out in black and white, as you can probably see there. I'll tell you my team. You can go up ahead against me if you want. I've got Pope, Trippier, Bruno, Wilson, Smaximan in my starting 11 with Joe Linton on the bench. And to balance things out for the Seagulls, I've got Lewis Dunk and Pascal Gross in my starting 11 with Sanchez, Lamptey and Welbeck on the bench. So there we are, free entry, potential payout in this one of up to £100. So get yourselves involved. All fun, all good fun. So we're going to get into the team news is there then, and we are going to start as usual with Brighton, the away team. There it is. They got their team along the bottom from last week, as well as Newcastle's against Nottingham Forest. All the details of what went on there with the subs, the goals, any yellow cards. You can see there that McAllister got an own goal at Old Trafford. And it is Pascal Gross, which is why he's in my BetMate team. 2 goals at Old Trafford last weekend. Yeah, they're a tough team to play against. Eddie Howe spoke about them before. I think that's the only thing that he really said. So I'll get into what he said about them now. Got the notes in there. He says, they're a very unique team. When you play them, you have a huge challenge on your hands. Tactically, I think they're excellent. I think Graham Potter has done an amazing job. This is a big challenge for us, and we need to respond to it. So back into Brighton there. Then I'll get their team from Man United back up on there. 2 for McAllister, goal for McAllister. Own goal for McAllister, sorry. This was their bench. They got Lamptey on, Colwell, Mwepu. Morpay with the pink hair now, if you've seen pictures of him today. Got lovely pink hair, but that's questionable. Yeah, that's the worry about well, not really a worry, but I think a bit of a concern if I was a Brighton fan. And from watching out from them for the past few years, I have liked them. Graham Potter has done an amazing job, as Eddie Howe said. They are a very well-oiled team, very good tactically, brilliant in defence. But what they've always missed is that striker. Obviously, they had Welbeck there the other day. Welbeck, very good Premier League, experienced, been a bit iffy with injuries over the years. Obviously, they've got goals in the team. They've got March, McAllister, Trossard, Gross, Lallana. A lot of them are capable of scoring goals, but I think it is the out-and-out goal scorer that they just don't have. And yeah, Neil Maupay, he's been their main man for the last few years, but on the bench, unused sub at Old Trafford, I think they are going to need to spend big money to get in a bit of a marquee signing. They have brought in a few players this year, nothing major. They got Colwell from Chelsea as a centre back, but yeah, I'm just not really overly impressed with their attacking options. The only absentee from them is Jakub Moder, who Graham Potter spoke about in his pre-match press conference. He's the only one. No new injuries since the Man United game, so likely to be the same starting lineup unless they want to change things around. But after a 2-1 win at Old Trafford, you don't really want to change things, do you? But yeah, the young Polish international Jakub Moder was out prior to that game, and he's still the only absentee going into Newcastle. So high likelihood that the team will be the same. And Will Newcastle's going to get into that now, speak a little bit about what Eddie Howe's had to say. Got the same graphics up on here for Newcastle. A goal for Fabian Schär, one for Callum Wilson, and all the subs on there as well. All the changes that were made, most of them relatively late. Botman only got stoppage time, basically, about 2 minutes from the end. Wood, Fraser, Murphy, and Sean Longstaff, all quite late changes, not really enough to make an impact, but brilliant starting 11. So who didn't make the squad was Jamal Lascelles, who was named in the squad until just before kickoff. He was announced to have picked up an injury in the warm-up and was replaced last minute by Paul Dummett. Eddie Howe spoke about Lascelles, Captain Lascelles. He says he's okay. He missed the early parts of training this week, but he came back towards the end, so we anticipate that he'll be fine. So will there be a change there? Quite possibly. I think that there will be. So obviously being the captain and the leader, we're going to swap them around, give Lascelles his bib back and take it off Dummett. And the other injuries, the main one that we are going to talk about is Jonjo Shelvey, as it was reported during the week. He's had a injury. He's had a surgery, on that injured hamstring that was meant to be ruling out for about 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. Reports during the week from the likes of Craig Hope and Keith Downey says that it could be around about 12 weeks, which Eddie Howe has today confirmed. He says, it's a complex one. We've had a number of scans and opinions. He's had an operation and we expect him to be out for around 12 weeks. He was very disappointed. A real shame for him and for us, but he's on the road to recovery. And Craig Hope went on to report that Eddie Howe told him that a decision is yet to be made on whether he'll be included in the 25-man squad for the first half of the season. Obviously, you can change your 25-man squad after the January transfer window. So we may not get to see Jonjo until January, or maybe even February. That depends on rehab in the coming weeks. So with that 12-week injury, I've had a little look at the fixture list, and a 12-week absence, as long as everything goes to plan and he comes back within them 12 weeks, trains well during that 12th week, his potential return date could be the 5th of November, away to Southampton. So, is it worth keeping him in the 25-man squad? Would you just leave him out? Got some new bodies in, potentially some new transfers. That's what we're going to need to be looking at, really. That's why there's a big decision to be made on whether he will make it. Put him in the 25-man squad to come back November, December time. No need to rush him in. Yeah, like I say, if we leave him out, then we might not be able to see him again until January, February. So big decision there to be made. A couple of other absentees from the week last week have been spoke about again by Eddie Howe. And Jamal Lewis, who's done a couple of days training, which is great to see. He was on the road to recovery last week, but still obviously didn't make the squad last week. and is only still doing a couple of days training, as did Federico Fernandez. Fede has done a couple of days of training. We've gently reintroduced him. Very keen to see him consistently train to stay with us. That's my spelling there. Very keen to see him consistently train with us. He is a top player. And there's Javier Manquillo, who wasn't actually mentioned in the press conference. He was expected to be back last week. Yeah, there wasn't any mention of him. Eddie Howe did say last week that he could be back. He's in contention. He had been training. But yeah, no mention of him this week. So maybe that injury sign can be removed. But yeah, we'll have to just wait and see about that. So it was mentioned that there wasn't any real injury last week. Obviously, he was left out of the squad. No one really knew why. He wasn't expected to be out. So there wasn't really an injury. It was just more of a tightness. There had been 2 scans. They came back clear. I don't think there's an injury there, but maybe a problem that's stopping him getting to full speed. Hopefully, that'll be very short term. Because, yeah, we could do with some more fullbacks. Obviously, Emil Kraft was one of our stars of the second half of last season. Very great second half after the injury to Kieran Trippier. And with the likes of Manquillo potentially still being out and Lewis as well, we are a little bit short for fullback cover. Obviously, Dummett's there, but he kind of removed from last season. He wasn't meant to be on the bench last week, was he? He was like a last-minute inclusion. So, yeah, Dummett's on the fringes, on the outside looking in. So we'll get into the starting 11 then. And we'll start in goal, as always, with Nick Pope. Clean sheet on his debut. Obviously, great place to start. Couldn't really wish for a better start. Defense was brilliant as well. Didn't really have a lot to do, Nick Pope, but collected comfortably in crosses that came in. Can't really remember too many shots he stopped, but yeah, good start. So yeah, he keeps his place ahead of Martin Dubravka. And who else keeps their place but the captain, the vice captain, in place of Jamal Lascelles in the starting 11. Kieran Trippier, obviously absolute stalwart in that starting 11. Obviously, we've got the likes of Kraft and Manquillo who can step in. If he gets injured, fingers crossed that he doesn't. Hopefully, he can stay fit for the full season or as long as possible. And on the other side, another stalwart in the team is Matt Target, just left back. Obviously, absolutely unbelievable signing, getting him in on a permanent deal. Brilliant piece of business. But the main talking point is the centre-backs. Dan Burn, going back to his former club, Brighton. They speak very, very highly about him. I think Graham Potter spoke about him in his press conference, saying that he thinks and he hopes he'll get a good reception, and he believes that he will. Obviously, Brighton fans were quite gracious in losing him to Newcastle in January. They said a lot of good things on social media, just wished him the best, really. Moving on to a club with a promising future, a lot of money, and obviously being like his hometown as well, like the club he supported since he was a boy. So, yeah, shout out to the Brighton fans for that. Hopefully this builds up a bit of a connection with the Brighton fans going forward. But yeah, Dan Burn, he was a bit questionable. Obviously, I think the biggest question was, who is it going to be? Obviously, Botman. I think we were thinking, is he going to start? Or we're going to start with Shaw and Burn, who finished last season really, really well. Formed like a very good partnership them. Botman's come along and put a bit of a spanner in the works there. £35 million signing. Only got stoppage time during that Nottingham Forest game. But he is a young lad, only 22 years old, coming from a foreign league, no Premier League experience. It seems now that we probably will be treating him like we did Bruno when he came from the French league. He's young as well. Obviously, we remember like just easing him in, didn't start the first few games, which was frustrating a lot of fans, spent a lot of money on him. Brazilian international. But I think the way Eddie Howe managed him was perfect, just bringing him on here and there, a few more minutes each week off the bench. So I think that's how Botman will be treated. After this game, we'll have got a couple of tough games with Man City and Liverpool coming up as well. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting battle to watch at centre-back. But I do have to think that Dan Burn keeps his place, like I say, finishing, continuing on from last season. Him and Shaw, absolutely superb, and another clean sheet. So don't be changing a winning mentality, a winning team, a winning formation. Keep it how it was with Shaw there as well, scoring an absolute thunder blaster. Brilliant strike from him outside the box. So, yeah, I've got to think that it is going to stay the same at the back and all over the field as well, I'm assuming. Bruno, as we mentioned, 24 years old, coming into his first full season in the Premier League. And like him and Joelinton as well, man. Like, they're brilliant, man, aren't they? That Brazilian connection, central midfield, doing everything, getting back, sticking their bodies on the line, helping the back four, winning the ball, moving it forward, passing, attacking. Oh, it's just absolute joy to watch. Like, them two are going to wreak havoc in the Premier League together this year. Bruno just eases class and quality, so calm and composed on the ball. And Joelinton on an absolute brick shit house, didn't mess with him. And on the other side, we've got Joe Willock, who I think goes very unnoticed, very underrated. He's very good at getting his body in the way as well. And interceptions, the amount of interceptions he wins, getting the ball back, pressing high. Does a very underrated job, I think, Joe Willock. And without Shelvey for the next few weeks, maybe the next few months, there's not a lot of option there with only Sean Longstaff to threaten that side. Obviously, we're looking at some new signings in James Maddison. Potentially some others. We've been linked with quite a few. Paqueta, maybe he's got that, going to have that hat trick of Brazilian midfielders. See what happens. But for now, Joe Willock stays in the starting lineup for me. Thought he had another brilliant game. And with the front three as well. So Maximin on that far side, he keeps his place. Callum Wilson, who Eddie Howe spoke about getting contact from Gareth Southgate from. Obviously, at the end of the Nottingham Forest game in the press conference, Callum Wilson spoke highly about his goals and ambitions. He wants to go to the World Cup. He wants to be part of that England team, wants to be on that plane to Qatar. And he's going the right way about it. A fantastic finish in the opening day of the season. Just needs to stay fit. I've got absolutely no doubt in my mind that Callum Wilson can easily get between 15, 20, maybe 20 plus goals, depending on who's providing them, which we haven't really had in the past. We've always struggled with strikers scoring goals on a consistent basis because we've never been attacking enough, never really had enough options. Now we've got people like Trippier whipping the balls in, so Maximin, Target, Bruno, Joelinton, hopefully a couple more. The likes of, if we do get Maddison in, then obviously that gives Gareth Southgate definitely something to look out for. Obviously, Kieran Trippier will be going. Loves Kieran Trippier. Sometimes plays him on that left wing back side. Maddison, Wilson, maybe he's even potentially... I haven't really got any left backs at the minute for England, have we? So why not keep an eye on Target? Maybe he's Byrne, maybe he's Willock, Sean Longstaff. We've got quite a few England players. And Pope as well. I forgot about Nick Pope at the back. Nick Pope should be in the three-man goalkeepers, one of the three-man goalkeepers. So, yeah, Gareth Southgate's got every reason. I don't think he really has looked at Newcastle in a long, long time. I don't think any England manager has for a long, long time. So, yeah, now with Wilson threatening there, maybe, like I say, Trippier, maybe Maddison and a few others banging on the door, Gareth Southgate's going to have to take a note of Newcastle and come to St James's Park a little bit more often. And on that other side, I think we will be keeping that same full starting 11. Miggy Almiron, who we'll just touch upon, still frustrates me, you know. It's just that decision-making, the strength going forward, confidence in kind of like leading a line. He had a brilliant pre-season. Don't get us wrong, he was our best player by a mile. Correct us if I'm wrong, but was it 4 goals and 2 assists or 5 goals, something like that? He was fantastic and deserves to keep his place. He did work really, really well, especially in that second half, linking up with Wilson and Maximin on that front three. He was great, but you just like to see him be a bit more consistent in the Premier League. Like, yeah, he can do it in pre-season, which is great, but yeah, you want to see it in the Premier League. He needs to score more goals. Shied away from some that he should have shot, but passed instead. And yeah, it just frustrates me still a little bit, Almiron, and I wish he didn't. But he keeps his place. Obviously, the only other one who did come on from quite late on in that game was Ryan Fraser. We've got Jacob Murphy there as well. But yeah, I'm going to keep it exactly the same as it was, unless some of these are banging on the door. I think I've already taken that bib off of Dummett and given it to Lascelles. But that's how I see it. The same bench that was announced an hour before kickoff, obviously with Lascelles coming back in place of Dummett. And keeping these outside, obviously we know Shelvey's going to be out. Keeping an eye on Lewis, Kraft and Fernandez. Potentially might see the return of Manquillo on the bench, probably depending on Lascelles' fitness there, really. And we're going to be keeping out Darlow, Matty Longstaff, Gillespie and Kel Watts for another week. But that is my prediction there. And guys, I'm going to keep things exactly the same as the word. Don't change it. When you're winning, keep it nice, keep it simple, and make sure that we get them 3 points. The first 3 at the Amex. Come on, the Mags. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Give me your lineup predictions as well as a score prediction. I do think it's going to be another very, very tough game against a very tough team, but I am going to go for that first win. 3 points, going with a 2-1 Newcastle win. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe to the Magpie Channel TV, and enjoy yourself.